Hi everyone. For those who've been attending the sessions throughout the day, welcome back. If this is your first session of the day, welcome to the last one for today for Jadu's 2020 Summer Academy. I'm your host, David Evans, Vice President Jadu. I'm sure most of you I've met. If not, if the first time I've seen me, then hello. We'll run through the sort of housekeeping to start with. The Jadu Twitter account is @Jadu, and the hashtag for the day is #Jadu Academy. We'll be announcing a prize sometime at the end of this session, so go ahead and get involved. There'll be a recording made of the session, and we'll make that available to you afterwards in case you've missed anything or want to watch it back over or share with a colleague. The chat function is on the right hand side there. You can ask questions as you go, and we encourage you to do so. What will happen is Sarah, my colleague, I'll say hello, Sarah.
Hello.
Sarah will moderate the chat, and we'll circle back at the end and pick up on any questions and answer them as best we can. So today, for this session, I wanted to share with you some of the more kind of exciting, futuristic aspects of what our customers are doing. And I was particularly inspired by a visit that I had to Northampton Borough Council in October last year. But I've followed the work that they've been doing with us over a few years now. And if you've watched some of the academies in the past, you will have seen them presenting. And so I wanted to share the integration that we've developed in conjunction with them and have subsequently released to the platform. And I wanted to also just share some of the ways they're using that. So we'll start with a poll. We only have one poll for this session. And Sarah will pop that up now. And we just want to understand whether a chatbot is something that your council has or is thinking about. So some of you will have it already, some of you will be looking to add it, and others maybe haven't yet thought about it. But if you could fill that out, we'll give you a couple of seconds. Okay, so a bit of a spread. You've got we've got a few that have sort of evenly split between have one already. There's a few not sures, and a few that don't yet have one. Okay, so I think that hopefully the session will be of interest regardless of whether you have one at the moment or perhaps looking to get one. This is the Jadu Continuum platform. It's three core components: Jadu CMS for content management, Jadu XFP for online forms and data capture, and Jadu CXM for case management. We are going to be talking, the solution I'm going to show you is using both the CMS and CXM, and it's also obviously using Amazon LEX. Just a recap again for those who aren't familiar with who we are, we're a leading provider of digital solutions to local government, both here in Australia and in the UK, as well as operating in other markets like higher education in the US. Okay, so some of you will have seen this video before if you tuned into the session we had earlier on the Confirm integration, but just so everyone's on the same page and we have a working literacy of what the CXM solution does, I'm just going to play you that video. It's about 2 minutes 40, and once we've got that under the belt, we'll launch into showing you the chatbot.
Managing customer expectations by keeping them informed and up to date in real time, along with a grand plan of consolidating out of control back office systems into one single platform, giving you complete business oversight, may seem frankly just a little daunting. But with Jadu CXM, we can start you down the path of having customers effectively self-serve, to connect them to the right people by digitizing services and collecting the right data for business decisions. Imagine a consistent experience for your service teams, vendors and customers that improves efficiencies and reduces costs, whilst automating repetitive tasks and giving everyone a single customer view. So, what makes Jadu CXM different from other solutions? Well, There's the easy-to-use case timeline, which provides a single view of interactions and transactions and brings transparency to customer, staff, and vendors. All the details, conversations, data, and documents are available in real time when they're needed. And how about those powerful integrations? Bringing those fragmented back-end systems together into one single platform. The flexibility of this low-code platform allows you to spin up your digital services quickly. Jadu CXM uses rich APIs, webhooks, and core integrations, so different apps and third-party services can be easily connected, and importantly, new digital services can be quickly rolled out. Effective innovation relies on good data. Having accessible, meaningful, real-time information is fundamental to digitizing services using AI and RPA. That data drives real-time decision-making. Put simply, Jadu CXM is data transfer gold, with integrations, webhooks, reporting, and authentication. Interactions and transactions are updated in real time, and internal process workflows ensure a single source of truth for evidence-based decision-making. Solve business problems easily and launch digital services quickly, reuse them for other services, and make them shareable with others. And as it's cloud-based, it's highly resilient and it's always switched on. Jadu CXM, connecting people, data, and solutions now and into the future.
That gives you a bit of a working knowledge of CXM. Go on to talk about the integration with Amazon LEX. So I guess there are a couple of points of origination for our journey towards integration with Amazon. We had looked as a business, we looked at several AI technologies. Initially, I think we looked at Google's TensorFlow, and we built a proof of concept around image recognition and being able to tag an item of content for upload into the CMS, which was pretty cool. It was a nice, neat use of the technology. But I guess you know, we were looking at what more we could do with the technology. We also looked at the Amazon LEX APIs, and at about the same time we were doing that, one of our customers, Northampton Borough Council, were also working with Amazon, and they had a real ambition around moving towards a fully digital virtual contact center. So because we both had that good experience with Amazon, we decided to build out an integration between Amazon LEX and CXM. So what is Amazon LEX? Amazon LEX is a service for building conversational interfaces into any application using voice and text. So once you've built the bot in Amazon LEX, you can deploy it in whatever channel that you want. So LEX is not the channel, it's the technology that you then deploy into the channel. So what we'll do is, we'll get to the demonstration in just a moment. One of the foundational principles of this integration with Amazon LEX is the fact that it's low code. I don't know how many of you have had a good hard look at AI and machine learning, but it gets pretty complicated pretty quickly. You know, when you're looking at deep learning, neural networks, that kind of thing. If we were going to do something within this space, we had to deliver something that was low code. So what do we mean by that? Something that a business analyst can configure within the software, where you don't have to be a developer and you don't have to be an expert on AI or machine learning. One of the key components with machine learning or AI is that the bots that you develop have to be trained. So they're only as good as the data that you feed them. Now, what we've done with our integration between CXM and Amazon LEX is that through the integration, we feed the bot your own data So when you deploy the service and you're getting lots of data around how the customer uses it, the kind of language that they use, the way they interact with your service, that data is being used to train the bot in Amazon and improve the bot's capability in terms of being able to recognize language and understand intent. We'll hear Kevin from Northampton Borough Council speaking in a clip in a minute about this very point. But as a company, we've been very focused on channel shift. And if you listened to Brett Johnson and Tracy Whitelaw in their session earlier from the LJQ, Brett talked about channel shift. And that's something we're very focused on as a company and have been for a long time. So that's the idea that we have some older, more established channels of interacting with an organization that don't offer a particularly good customer experience and are quite costly to serve. So we're thinking face-to-face interactions over the counter at the council offices, phone calls, that kind of thing. So the trend or the idea has been over the past few years is to move those transactions online and typically via your website as much as possible. What this does is it kind of flips that on the head. It says we're going to build a bot in Amazon and then we're going to deploy it into the channel that your customers are already using or most comfortable using when interacting with you as an organization. So it doesn't matter whether that's via the web, via email, SMS, Facebook Messenger, whatever it might be, you can deploy the bot into those channels and customers can interact with you. So I'll just play the video now where we've got Kevin giving you a bit of an overview of what he was trying to achieve.
The Council is looking at automation and chatbots, primarily to reduce our overall costs, but also to improve services for the public. Now, over the last few years, as most of you are aware, we've been doing channel shift, getting customers off the cumbersome channels of email, phoning us up, trying to get them to go online where we can reduce the cost and deliver a better service to them. We've recently been looking into the newer technologies that are out there that allow us to flip that approach. Instead of shifting the customer to our preferred channel, which never sat well anyway because we're supposed to be designing stuff for the customer. Instead, we're looking at bringing technology to whatever channel the customer is already on. So technology shift as opposed to channel shift. And we believe that we can reduce the costs effectively across all the channels. So if someone phones us up, if someone sends us an email, a text message, even wanders into our one-stop shop for a face-to-face discussion, we can treat all of those channels as digital. Now, the way we do that is by, those are essentially unstructured contact. We don't know what the person's going to say, it's just a blob of text or a sentence that they tell us. And the newer technologies that are out there with AI, chatbots and automation allow us to break down those unstructured contacts into structured data. Once it's structured data, we can treat it just the same as you would any form.
An introduction in terms of what Northampton Borough Council were attempting to do. I will just play you the demo now. I should have just gone ahead with myself. Just bear with me one moment and I'll share my screen. Great, so hopefully you can see that all okay. Okay, so what I've got is on the left-hand side, I have our demonstration, the front end of our demo account. And on the right-hand side, I have our CXM staff view as a logged-in user. So what I'm going to do is I've got the chatbot set up on a home page. And this is just a Jadu homepage with a chatbot widget on it. I'll show you what that looks like in the back end, just so you can see. So you can see this is just this is, if the UI is slightly unfamiliar to you, this is the new CMS 20.0 release. But this is just a regular Jadu homepage with a chatbot widget deployed on it. So to go back to our bot, and I'm going to ask it a question. So you can configure these bots to service as many service types as you want. I've configured this particular one to deal with barking dog complaints. So what this is doing is it's analysed the intent of my my message, and it's matched that intent to a case type or a service request type that's been defined in Amazon. That definition is set by CXM through the integration, but you can fine tune it within Amazon. So I'll go ahead and I'll fill out the rest of this chat. So it's working through a series of predefined questions that we've set for this particular service type. Each service type will have its own set of questions and will be as different as you want them to be. Now we set this up so that you can, if you want to provide your email, you're going to be able to then get updates on the progress of your complaint. Now, I've just seen the message from Selchuk. Can I show you what it looks like on a mobile? I will try and see if we've set that up on this template. That's the mobile view, Sel. So hopefully that gives you some sort of idea, although that is just using the templates of our demo account. So we've not built that with that in mind, but it seems to work okay. So what we've done with this particular demo is we've set it up to provide the display, to raise a case immediately, and then it displays the case reference number to the customer, and it also provides them to a link through to the case. So you can then go as a customer and view that in CXM. Now, if I go to my staff view, hopefully I'm still logged in. And we can see that this has just raised the case. Now, this is this particular account I'm using is our UK demo account, so that's why the time's a little off. And we can see that all of the metadata from the chat session has been mapped through to the case, and it's been raised by this robot staff user, or user who's a member of the staff group. So we've created a robot as a user within CXM, and that is then how Amazon then raises cases within CXM. And then a couple of other things have happened. With this particular case type is subject to workflow, which we've configured. And so I've configured it so that as soon as the case is raised, it progresses through workflow from submitted to under investigation. And then I've created, in my fictitious council, I've created a fictitious team, which is the Barking Dog Complaints Investigation Unit, or the BDCIU, who are now actively looking into this complaint. Now, what I'll do is I'll just show you very quickly how I've set that workflow up. So go and find my my case type, and then I've got some if this then that rules. So what this does is it says when there's an event. So the what is the trigger? The trigger is when the case is created, and I choose it from a drop down. I apply a transition. So the transitions are steps through workflow that we define. And so I've got the ones that I've created 3 different transitions. So the transition is investigate, and I can also I've chosen also to assign it to a group of users. In this case, it's my barking dog complaints investigation unit. And I save that. So each case type will have its own predefined workflow rules that you set up. So what this means is that the bot can be a kind of a portal for as many case types or service types as you want. And then once they're in CXM, they all have their own workflow rules and they go to the right person within council. I'll just stop sharing my screen, I think. Here we go. Okay. So what I've just shown you is I've shown you an example using the website. That's just one channel that we can deploy the bot to. We can also deploy it to you can phone the bot and have a conversation with the bot. You can send an email, SMS, Facebook Messenger. There's a raft of different ways that you can interact with the bot. I'm going to play you a video now of Andy from Northampton Borough Council, and he's using the Jadu My Account functionality along with an email exchange with the bot. So I'll just play that now.
But that demonstrates one of the issues we've got is that we fed all the information into a centralised Q&A database effectively. The intents that the customer then comes up with as they go through it will basically bounce off a response to the Q&A database. If it can find the response, it will come back and verbally tell the customer. If it can't, what it will do then is it will queue it back as a call, which then goes into our contact centre for a human agent to deal with. So this is really an example of what we're terming augmented intelligence rather than artificial intelligence. At the first instance, the bot will try and deal with the call. If it can, great, fantastic. It answers the call within 1 second and one ring anyway. The next thing then is obviously the customer hopefully gets their call resolved very quickly, and there's no need for a human agent to take the call. In those cases where there is a problem and the customer can't get their answer, they're still being routed through to a human agent in order to have that interaction. The next functionality that we built on top of that feeds into our CXM instance and our My Accounts functionality.
To demonstrate the capability of the omnichannel options of the bot software we're working on in conjunction with Jadu, let's look at an example of how it works using the email channel. Initially, the customer My Account displays that there are no cases currently logged against the person. The customer, in this case me, sends us an email asking a question about their benefits claim. How long does it take for my benefit claim to be processed? The email is sent, arrives at the mailbox for the chatbot, and is handed off to the knowledge base to be processed, using the same one that drives the voice bot. The bot finds the answer, composes the response from the FAQ, and sends it back to the customer. As you can see, for the purposes of this demo, we've included the verification checker which displays the percentage chance that the response is correct. This is included purely for testing purposes. Not only does the customer receive a tailored email response, but, as can be seen here, the email displays the CXM case type and reference. When we switch back to the My Account page and refresh this, you can now see the case listed in the My Case area. The customer can see the same question they sent us and the response the bot sent back. As a member of staff, we can see more detail in the back office side of CXM, as you would expect. As the query was able to be answered successfully by the bot, the case has automatically been closed and is merely recorded as a successful transaction within the system. But what about those cases where the answer isn't so easy to find? For example, what if I were to ask, how do I buy an elephant? This isn't a service you would expect any council to be able to fulfil. As we can see, the process is the same, but upon receiving the query, the knowledge base can't find a suitable answer. In these cases, the bot will open a case automatically and can route this case to a suitable workflow for a human agent to reply. The response in this case is predicated as a notification telling the customer that it can't directly answer their query and an agent will need to contact them to assist. In this way, individual workstreams can be brought online as and when their knowledge bases are ready. If the case type doesn't yet exist in the knowledge base and the bot can't answer the question, then the bot can be directed to create a case for a human agent to handle. And this functionality is also part of the voice bot functionality, as it's all driven from the same knowledge base. If the voice bot can't recognize the query after 2 attempts, it will route the call to a human agent to resolve. This is true augmented intelligence in application.
One thing I neglected to mention before playing that video was that Northampton Borough Council have set this up so that the bot will reference a knowledge base. That knowledge base is a repository of all of their FAQ answers. So 20% of their call volumes are FAQs. They felt that this would, and I think rightly so, that FAQs would lend themselves quite nicely to being handled by a bot. So what the bot will do is the bot will look in the knowledge base for the answer. If it can provide the answer, it will give the answer there and then. And that contact is then closed off. If it can't find the answer, it will then raise a case and they'll automatically assign that to a human agent to then pick up and respond to. So the other important thing is that bot that you saw is the same bot that is powering the chat on the website that I demoed. It's the same one that's powering the email. There's also a clip of Andy having a conversation with the bot. And we haven't got a lot of time, and Andy chatting to a bot over the phone wasn't particularly great viewing, but I can send that round afterwards if you want. But the point is, it doesn't matter what the channel is. It's the same bot, and it can power all those channels wherever your customers happen to be interacting with you. So that's it for me. Apologies, I've gone a little bit longer than I was planning to. Sarah, do we have any questions? If there's anybody who wants to jump in at the end with a question, feel free to do so.
No. Oh, we've got a question here. Hang on. Bear with me 1 moment. Okay, so we've got David asking, has there been any work to make Jadu CMS host FAQ data that can be interrogated by virtual agents or integrations so that the bots serve up content from pages on the site?
Well, thanks, David. Appreciate the question and the questions throughout the day, actually. Lots of thoughtful questions. So I think that's how they've set it up. I'll have to check. I know we have a number of customers that use Jadu as a knowledge base. I will have to check to see if that's how they've set that up. So I'll take that away and follow up. Okay, we'll follow that one up,
no problem. Other than Glenn wanting to actually buy an elephant, which would be quite cool, you showed on a mobile device. That seems to be all the questions. Anybody else got any last questions? If not, we'll end the session. Thank you to
one thing I'd say about the ability to raise a case through SMS is particularly useful if you're in an area with poor coverage. So there'll be a lot of councils on this call that will have areas where maybe you've got a cell reception enough to send a text, but not enough to access the web. So being able to raise a case through SMS and have that dealt with, I think is really useful.
Okay, so Sal's just come in with a question. So is there okay? Is there any triage mechanism for malicious attacks, bot versus bot?
That's an interesting question, Sal. So that's essentially a bot that's visited the site and is then spamming the bot that you've got deployed. I guess it would mostly be in the context of visiting a website as opposed to sending emails or calls. Good question. I would need to go away and chat with the team and think about that some more, because you would need a bot. That bot would need to be able to ask the right questions. Well, if I guess if it doesn't ask the right questions, then it would raise a case. So yeah, I'll take that away, Sal. That's a really interesting question.
Awesome. We'll get back to you.
Yeah, no, good question. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it for the day. That was our last session. For those of whom who've been with us most of the day, thank you. We had a session with Swindon following this, but that's been cancelled. So just a note that that's not taking place. We've got follow-up information that we'll provide to you for many of the sessions that you've been on today. So thank you to everybody for coming. And any questions, please just contact David or I, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, thanks everyone. You've been a great crowd. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Perfect. Thanks all. Bye.